we are setting up here, kind of getting into the vibe and opening the energy. Alrighty, guys. So, welcome to Kiara's Spirituality Podcast, where we sip on truth, dive into the unknown, and activate the wisdom that was always within you. Today's special episode is for the visionaries, the entrepreneurs, the community leaders, and the spiritually awakened souls who know they are meant for more. We're diving into how astrology specifically can pinpoint wealth potential, entrepreneurial gifts, business timing, and the energetic alignment required to truly thrive. Joining me today is Carolina. She's a guide in astrology and spiritual growth, as well as a powerful community leader for her own community and other communities, helping people navigate their path with clarity and purpose. So if you've ever wondered whether your chart reveals your personal success path, this conversation is for you. So let's pour the tea. Miss Carolina, tell us about your journey into astrology.
Yes. Hello, everybody. That was a beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. My journey into astrology was not a common one. I feel like I missed out a lot when I see young witches in their teens. I was like, man, I wish I had been okay with accepting and going deeper in what I felt was like a very unusual perspective on life. Like I've always been very introverted. I've always felt very like the outsider. I'm a foreigner. I'm not from the US. I wasn't born here. Yeah, yeah, I'm Chilean. I'm Latina, yo. And so I had a lot of I was dealing with other things that didn't really allow me to play into that space as much. And so it wasn't until later when really hard things started to happen in life that I started to explore more of the conversation. I've always been interested in something that is different than ourselves. So, for example, ancient cultures, ancient societies, everything that has to do with ancient stuff, like the pyramids, the knowledge. Like I was just like, why is this so hidden? But I didn't go any deeper than that for myself. And yeah, then I had some major transits happen in my life that had to do a lot of redefining of who I was, releasing attachment to what I thought was a path or a life. And just slowly and surely, I just started to ask those questions like, why am I here? What's going on? Like, I know that I'm a Cancer sun. Astrology is definitely not just a sun. I mean, I knew intuitively it wasn't. And so I entered formally into studying astrology when I was like in my 40s. And it was after my Uranus opposition, which is one that happens, around 41 to 43 for people. And it's not one that many of us will ever experience again because Uranus takes 84 years to do a whole transit around the zodiac. Yeah. So at 41, 43, even actually during mid 30s into like mid 50s, we're all experiencing major life transits that are called like the midlife transits. And it's why things can be so chaotic for people because you're literally being faced with having to define who you are as a human, right? Like, are you actually this? No, maybe you're something else. Do you really want that? No, maybe you want something else. Right? Or you have like really harsh lessons about your emotions, your anger, your way of approaching life, your lack of discipline. Who knows, right? We all have different challenges in life that we experience, and those are those cycles. So that's where it came in. I studied with the Portland School of Astrology, which at the time and still is, and it no longer exists, but there is no other astrology school that is in person. At the time, they were. And before them, it was Kepler, but then Kepler stopped doing anything in person and they moved online. And it was great. It was very intimate. It was just a small group of us that got to hang out each weekend and just go into astrology and studied it in different ways. Like I studied like some of the history of astrology to, more of the modern uses of astrology. There's many types of astrology. That's the other thing many people don't realize. It's like what I learn and teach and guide others on is just like one type. And then there's like maybe like 10 types at this point. It's like you've many kinds, evolutionary, horary, electional astrology, couples, you name it.
May I
medical.
ask what your like which house system you use?
Yeah, I studied through, so with Portland School, it was traditional Hellenistic. So I'm a whole sign house
Okay.
individual. Yes. I studied originally my chart with Placidus, and I was like, hell no. So I was so happy to learn, like, there are many other kinds of house divisions. And this is all like the best, like, conversation amongst astrologers, like, oh, you use that. Oh no, I use this. I'm like, okay, whatever. I was taught by this and this is what works for me. And yeah, and that's what I share with others. But by all means, learn all the house systems if you want. I mean, who cares? Like, use whatever you is helpful to you. Yeah. So that's how astrology came in. It was a stumble, but then realized as I got into understanding my own chart and myself that I was built for this. I am a very curious person. Gemini, Venus, and IC conjunction. I have Mars, I'm sorry, I have my moon and Uranus
Mhm.
conjunct. So that speaks to a lot of like this like knowledge that comes out of nowhere and grabbing. So it's built for like, oh, let's go find out more information. Let's go deeper. And then I have Jupiter and Scorpio. It's like, yes, deeper, oh, more occult. Yes, yes, yes. And it's like, yeah, okay. You know what I mean? It's like a little marching band. It's like, let's go to the library to find more books about more occult things. And then my Gemini-ness is like, yes.
I feel fed and seen.
Yeah, it's like so good.
When
Yeah.
think when, like, thinking about all this, it's so fascinating to hear, like, how you kind of took it upon yourself to jump into this because it is at the time, I feel like up until even recently, because it's more accepted now, it seems like it's opening the door to all the past because like you got opportunities that I don't know how many people can have like such a cool opportunity to do in-person training and then on top of that being able to take it to another level, which brings me to the next curious question I have for you, which is when did you decide that you wanted to like check on the directly impacting parts of astrology for money and career direction? Like where did that come up?
Yeah, so my original way of for my own for myself and business wise, yeah, so this is where I have a lot of empathy for people in this world because society
Sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
society wants us to all like operate at the same pace, at the same level, with the same goals. But when you realize that you are an individual beautiful snowflake and you have a birth chart, all of that gets thrown out the window because you are likely not meant to be moving in that pace or do those things or blah 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 blah. And so I had this transit of Neptune going through my first house, which is I'm a Pisces rising. So that was 2011 through 2026. And holy mother of boo boo, like, wow, right? This is when we saw the collective go through a massive awakening where they're like, we're all finding the woo now, right?
Mhm.
And it's like woo, everything woo, like the crystals, the rocks, the teachers, everybody's a healer, everybody's wanting to be healed, all the things, the music were all activated. And so that went through my first house and it disintegrated basically any ambition that I had. I went from like, I had a very clear, but it was also during the time where I decided to leave my corporate job and go into the fool's journey of not having anything on the other side. So I came to the point of actually utilizing astrology for myself as a business later, because in that Neptunian fog, I could not see anything. And all I kept hearing was, you're not meant to actually like be building, building, building at this time. Like you're meant to like really tap into like your gifts, your heart, like what is it that you want to nourish? Like, and I spent like many years deconstructing myself and then reconnecting with myself and then discovering and building like, okay, what are the things that I love to do? And a lot of it is creativity. I love to be creative, but astrology is like, what, this is an interesting thing. Like, wow, you can really you can help so much of humanity with it. And I decided like, huh, once the fog was lifted. I was like, oh my goodness, right. I spent 20 years doing digital marketing and strategy, working for like major corporations and brands in this country and this world. Why not take all of that and my passion of astrology and blend them? Right. Exactly.
Create the bridge.
And what's funny is that when you look at my astrology and then I go, ta-da, when people are stressed about doing something different in life, it's because their ego is telling them, don't go anywhere further, please. Like, we just want to go this far. That's it. But your chart will show you that you can do many things, so many ways, and interpreting each of those combinations is a game in itself. So I have my second house, which is where we create our own money through our talents and resources, is an Aries. Well, the ruler of that is Mars in Aquarius. And Aquarius is about future thinking. It is about the internet. It's about what I'm doing right now with you, right? Like conversing, blah, 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 and learning on the collective level. So I had this moment of like, that's funny because I'm now using that Aquarian signature for what I'm doing today. But in the past, I consulted people about their business to do online, and that was my job. And that my Mars is in the 12th. And for those who don't know these house placements, the house placements really tell you where energy shows up in your life. And the 12th house is a very mysterious place, as you may know.
Yeah.
And many of us want to describe it to a T, and we're always left without words. It's almost like I can't actually touch it or feel it, but I just sense it. And so for me, my 12th house experience with Mars being there is that I can actually be like a real asshole. They see my Pisces nature and they're like, she's so sweet and empath, but you cross it. Exactly. You cross my line and it's been my worst enemy. My anger has been my worst enemy. And that's one of the signatures of the 12th, which is what lies there could be your self-undoing.
When I think about like how you carry yourself, and just from what I've seen in the community, and like for my listeners and then for whoever ends up finding the podcast future, it's like when you're looking at 12th house energy, I think of it as being like super mystical, super spiritual. It's like held and holded by that Pisces energy anyway, because Pisces is the 12th house ruler. And it's like when you think of Pisces, they're all whimsical and like I think like hippy dippy spiritual, like, you know, like out there, like, yay, like peace, love, and the universe kind of energy. So if you put something so passionate and aggro and mover, innovator in the 12th house, like you, it's like, I think it's a great thing because you're the mover, shaker, innovator in that nature instead of being like, shit happens, like, oh, you know, let me just throw it to the wind. It's like, I see this stuff is happening. I want to make something happen with it. So
Yeah.
let's move it, you know, move and shake it.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's the spiritual warrior in me. I can't keep quiet with injustice.
I love that.
And I'm always wanting to do more for the collective and yeah. And how all of this is playing out with my membership is so spot on for Aquarian, right? Instead of like me charging, thousands and thousands of dollars, which doesn't mean that I won't, but right now what I want to do is bring something that is affordable to the collective for the purpose of healing and helping the collective. So yeah, that's my gift. That's my soul's promise, really.
I follow you because I'm in your group, but can you explain some of the locations that you are in your
Sure.
leadership position?
Yeah, so I have a school group. That's what you're referring to. Yeah, so if you're on school or want to be in school, you can go to my website. It's or link questmystic.com/school, and school is SKOOL. And so in this community at this moment is very centered more around business and individuals who are starting businesses or in the beginning or in the shift of a business and want to grow with astrology, want to bring in some of that knowledge. But honestly, we're having so much fun sometimes that we forget that that's one of the missions there.
Yes.
But I don't want it to be like this, like hardcore, like that's business. It's not my nature to split them apart. So you're naturally going to hear about like other things that I am passionate about because guess what? We're multifaceted individuals. So school's the place for you if you're listening, dear beautiful soul, and you want to build a business and want to be in aligned with your cosmic blueprint. My goal is to help you with the visibility and to get into that space where you are like, okay, I feel comfortable. This is what I'm going to do, and so on and so forth. And there's much more that I can share, and I do in this space. And we meet weekly, starting this Friday. Fridays at 10 a.m. ET. So yeah, I am a big believer, as you've met Kiara, Sadie, of making sure that we don't gatekeep and that we allow for our gifts to be shared freely, and whoever needs to come to us will come to us. I have no doubt. I'm sure you've run into the works of Wallace Wattles. Yeah, love him. Like, come on. Who named Wallace Wattles? I love his mother. It
Y'all should check him out.
Check him out. He was from the 1800s, late 1800s, wrote many books that The Secret was actually based on. And basically states like there is no end to energy. We are creating from a never-ending flood of energy. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be manipulated. So like with that mindset, there is no competition. People are like, oh, well, what? Check out your competition. Yeah, you should know what's going out there. Be aware. Maybe you're inspired, but never think like there's too many out there and you can't play. That's weird.
I really admire you and Sadie for the people who get to check out like the school and everything because of everything you guys are building. We had this awesome summit that we did from February 10th to the 17th. And it was
Yeah.
really cool to just see what people said, how they connected, where they wanted to come in as a community. And from personal experience, having gone through so many just different communities, especially being in Sedona, there's the ones that you want to play with and the ones you want to experience and the ones you don't want anything to do with. And it's being able to find authentic people, not only leaders, but just people coming together that can create and establish this really just open hearted, like, and it's not loose either. Like, I think people's misunderstanding in spirituality is that it's like a woo woo bullshit, woo, like
Right,
out there, like
right,
saying it's like, no, we're talking about real life situations. We're talking about moving and shaking. We're talking about development. We're talking about building. Like, how do we bring all this platform to the new era, the new age, the Aquarian energy? How do we bring this to the table when the world is like moving and shaking on its own without
right,
us? So
right.
how do we as leaders come in and hold that sacred space? Initially, when I was going to have you on in the podcast, I do have like some notes and thoughts that I was going to like tap into, but I watched your video that was talking about where to find your career and like where to better market yourself and better hold yourself in astrology. And in that video, like you kind of mentioned part of it earlier with the second house, but you were talking about these specific placements. I believe it was the 10th house, the second house, your moon, and something else. I can't remember what the last one was, but it was such an amazing video that if people get the chance, they should check out your YouTube. And I was curious with you because I'm building my business and I'm trying to show up and I'm trying to bring myself to the table, but I have all the tools and the material, but then I reached out to Sadie to help me with the business and figuring out how to organize it. So for people looking at their chart, I want them to hear like from you what you look at specifically when you help people guide their voice and their business, because I think that's where you're shining and what I admire from you.
Yeah, when people come to me with their charts, one of the first thing we need to understand is where the basic big three are. So like the sun, moon, rising, because that's the engine, the little engine behind the whole thing. And as a creator, which the majority of I think is going to happen with business, right? Instead of having big, large corporations as our employment, I think we're going to have more smaller companies and then a lot of solo people. And so if that's the case, then your birth chart becomes the tool that you use. And so in the birth chart, the sun, moon, rising can really tell you what do they feel most at ease when they're shining? In their most shiniest moments, where are they at ease? And that house placement will tell us where they like to shine. And so a fifth house sun, for example, really wants to spend their time in some sort of creativity aspect, right? This is the place of play. Whereas somebody in the they will want to be someone that is really out there building a public legacy of sorts. Like they're very comfortable holding that space. Maybe they become like a group leader, right? Maybe they are like the person that leads a group of individuals into something. And those are the first things. When we want to see like what is the monetization, where are things going to play out, we have to then look at like where are the concentration of things. So for example, if the chart is the circle and we have only 10 placements, I'm not going to look at Black Lilith and blah blah, no, don't care. The classical planets are enough. The 7 classical planets are enough, and then you can add the outer planets for a little bit more information. But just the 7 and knowing where they're all placed in the chart. Are they primarily at the top of the chart? Are they at the bottom of the chart? Are they on the left? Are they on the right? Because those placements will tell me, like, is this individual built more for something that is from home? Are they more comfortable being more private? Or are they someone who really wants to spend a lot of their energy teaching in the ninth house with a lot of ninth house activation? Or are they more built for like one-on conversations where they're not building these huge like community networks? And that would speak to seventh house. So the placement of the planets and then the signs will tell us, okay, how and where is this chart best operating in the realm of what we're dealing with right now. In my case, it's digital, right? It's all digital. And that's what I recommend people doing is like, even if you have a full-time job, have a digital business because nothing is certain. If you haven't like listened what's been happening in the world in the last 10 years, like, we couldn't get a bigger clue, right? We need to have multi-income streams, but not everybody can do that because not everybody is built to be able to manage multiple things, doing this and doing that, or even the conversations that you and I have. Like this is a very Gemini, Libra type of thing. Like, hey, right?
Gemini
Naturally.
with Libra rising. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly, right? It just doesn't come naturally for everybody, and that's why it's like, is podcast your solution? Maybe. Is blogging or Substack or whatever other writing platform is that for you? I don't know, but I can tell you what, you likely do, because if you were to write down the 3 things that really make you happy in the work that you like to do, ideally, you've already formatted something that we can work on. Now, obviously, if you hire me and we looked at your chart, I would be able to tell you that. But what I'm saying is that you don't dismiss what the intuition is telling you. And then we can build from that because then that's when cosmic timing becomes really cool. And we learn that we all operate at different rhythms. And depending on where Jupiter and Saturn you're in your chart at this time, you may be called, and also other things, but you may be called more to like really be structuring and building one part of your business and not fully expanding at this time. And I can tell you that from my own personal experience, having building my business now for almost 3 years with the alien that has just joined us with Sadie. So I can see how my solar return and my annual perfections, which is a timing technique to see where energy is going to be more concentrated during the year. And not until this year am I having transits that are pushing me into the light, that are pushing me into the visibility. And that sounds about right because I feel like this is what I've been doing for the last 2 years, like foundation, 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 before I could go, okay, bigger. Although my money self is like, I'm ready, bitch. What's up? Like
I love that. I remember too, like from your video, I was looking at, you mentioned the midheaven, but you also mentioned how like the midheaven affects where you're like, how you're going to use your tool, how you're showing up with your tool, like
yeah.
what's the destination of like what the tool ends up being. And I think I don't know how many people are like adept with astrology word, verbiage, knowledge. If you guys are curious about like specifics and knowledge and all that jazz, both of us have like so much information on that. On my personal school as well, I have like a section for astrology that just has simple rundowns telling you all this stuff like the house system and everything. But what's important, I think, is when you meet people like yourself, Miss Carolina, that like actually have so much curiosity in developing and understanding deeper levels of astrology. I think that that is so magical and important. I can't tell you how many awesome like astrologers that I've come into contact with that are just so like in their own snowflake vibe, like creating a new system or creating a way to understand astrology better. I had a really good friend at a time make a like protect yourself astrology book where it
Mhm.
talks about like if you are psychically getting attacked or if energy is being affected by you in the chart. And it's such a fascinating take of that form of astrology versus my mom is like super into how does your astrology make you so unique? How does your astrology make you so complicated? And what are the awesome little things that we could pick out that really strike like moments in your life that have made you who you are? And then for myself, like I just am curious about how astrology is connected to the original archetype, which is the actual celestial beings. And I kind of go into that world of talking about why are we related to these beautiful creatures such as Aries, so on and so forth. Were they beings from before that we took on yes, I agree, but were we beings before that we took on the personality traits of? And now we get to play out the roles here on Earth to discover the deeper parts of ourselves through astrology. So I think that it's just so cool to meet someone who, in your case, you're trying to help business people. How do I make myself shine above and beyond as me based on my blueprint, which is my astrology chart? I think that that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wasn't ready for that until Sadie kicked me off the ledge for that. I was staying in the more business consumer space, but I knew that the business part was going to come in. Like, I couldn't build it all at once. Something first had to be done. But yeah, there's one of my biggest dislikes about astrology and what's happening right now is the meme world
Oh, yeah.
of how much of disinformation, misinformation is out there that is confusing to individuals. Like people telling me about like the 20th sign. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. Just go look at the old texts and read stuff. Like, please get informed of what's happened over time. But yeah, there is what you, myself, and Sadie and others that gravitate and are coming online into this space. My prophecy and what I see what's happening is that in the 20 years time after Pluto does its thing, then when Saturn comes back into Aquarius, right, in 30 years, some years time from now, we're going to see it more ingrained into society. We're going to see it more as part of people's like way of operating because there'll be enough for them to say like, yeah, now it may also continue to go like really in the heights of exposure in the population culture-wise, and then go right back into deep occult because it's happened before. Astrology used to be the thing that
For the
everybody
Templars.
right, exactly. Everybody. If you wanted to be serving the kings and queens, you had to know astrology. If you wanted to operate on somebody, you needed to know astrology. It goes that deep into society's fabric. So yeah, we'll see. All of the reasons why it came out of alignment for our practice was due to religion, and that was during the Piscean age. So it might change as we go further and deeper and deeper and deeper. We're not yet fully in the Aquarian age. We're like at the very tiny, it's 2000 plus years. So we're just seeding the seeds at this time. But yeah, astrology is rad. It can really help us. The midheaven is a great place to look at for anybody, regardless of if it's for business or not, especially if you have things sitting at that angle. If you're sitting right at that point in the chart, it could tell you a lot about what you're doing here and why your purpose may be for this lifetime. I have my midheaven in Sagittarius. What about you?
Mine's in Cancer.
You're a Cancer and Sadie. What are you, Libra?
What's
Yeah.
your Do you know
Yeah,
your
well,
rising?
she's a Capricorn rising, and you have Aries at the bottom of the chart, so I'm thinking Libra at the top.
We
Yeah,
could look at your chart too. I'm curious about it. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll check that out. But I think what's interesting is, like, from what I understand about the Cancer 10th house, because me and my mom chat about this jazz like all the time, and it's my favorite thing. That's why when you're like, I'm an astrologer, I'm like, done. Want no, talk to me. That's my favorite thing. But what I understand about Cancer in the 10th house is that you said something about legacy, and I feel like that's like super ingrained in my system. I come from a heritage family where on my father's side, we have very many crests. There's a lot of energy that is rotating and moving and shifting in that side of the family. And then on my mom's side, they're more of the religious, like very culturally connected, very Hispanic from Mexico and from Spain kind of energy. So I feel like I want to establish a role in society where instead of the original role from the royal bullshit, where it was like, you have to follow in line, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to come up and be raised in this certain format. I think I took all of that understanding, the training, the politeness, and now I want to bridge it with my spirituality, empowering humanity, shifting the narrative towards goals of community and cultural connection. And I feel like Cancer is like mama, and she likes to house people and like give them a safe home. And I feel like that's kind of what I want to do for the world, is like not necessarily be a human savior or anything, but just like create a home within a home of us being on this planet. Because as I've talked to Sadie, we all, like, or at least us, we feel alien. I feel alien to this planet. And when hanging out with people who also feel alien, like, how do I make them feel happy and connected to themselves and here while we have to be here, you know?
Yeah. The ultimate mother wanting to gather their nest and people into this space and be a protector. Yeah, the Cancer archetype is the very tribal. Yeah, it's very tribal. It's like, and depending on how, like, for example, if you had like a moon or your sun in Cancer, you'll see them, and I've seen it myself, like, no, this is my group. I'm not sure if you're allowed to enter just yet.
Sag moon, everybody's welcome.
And I'm like, I don't know. So I can be like that bear of like wanting to protect my tribe of individuals. Yeah, and then Cancerians, what's interesting is that you're interested in like the past of whatever that may be. And the Cancer archetype is like the ultimate collector of the past, right? Like, the antiques dealer, but you're like in the galactic dealer.
And when we talk about antiques, girl, the old knowledge that I somehow know is insane. So the fact that you said that, that is really confirming for me in my chart, because I know stuff about stuff that people are just starting to talk about now, and I'm like, how did I know this? Like, where did this stuff come from? It's old ancient knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're picking that up. It's just, and with your Sagittarius moon, it wants to find that truth, right? It wants to go and explore and explore and explore and like have a mission towards that it wants to go towards over and over and over. It never ends for you guys. Yeah. Yeah. And that's so funny that your moon's in Sagittarius. So my midheaven is at 22. 22 is my magical number. So everything is 22.
Moon is 22 degrees Sag.
Oh my God. Stop it.
Let me check really quick though, because
Yeah.
that would be creepy. Hold on.
Yeah, it's very creepy.
I think
17 degrees.
my moon
Okay.
is Sagittarius.
Yours is in Sag?
My midheaven is Scorpio.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense for you.
Purge the bullshit, clean, make everybody better. I'm just kidding.
Also, I feel like that's where your stinger comes out at times.
Because you're like, hey, like, let's all be good. Let's all support each other. No BS in this chat.
I just told ya, can't you just do it? Yeah, yeah. Tap into that, like, I'm sure when Pluto was going through Capricorn, it really helped to expose some of your purpose and what you were
Oh yeah,
meant to be doing.
it was hell. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, it's too. So I do have 22 degrees, but it's my Libra rising is 22 degrees.
Aw. Oh, my moon's at 12 in Libra.
So maybe we just have that little cross.
Yeah, we have like synastry happening for sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
Some of the other things I wanted you to kind of tap into, because I have a couple of segments where I'm asking about wealth and stuff, but you kind of already have your keep going by yourself. So you're really on it. I think the thing that I want to know about is there is divine timing. And I've talked about this like in everything that I do. And I'm curious, how does divine timing correlate to astrological divine timing?
And are they the same or are they different? Oh, wow. All right. I'll get super personal. So these are the questions that I've had once I got into my chart. And first of all, when I first showed my chart to my astrology teachers, they were like, "Ooh, okay." I was like, "Oh, what?"
What does it
But
mean?
I already knew, right? I already knew because I had already had my experiences. At 32, I got married just like everybody does around 30, right? Saturn return came, and between 27 and 30, I was like, I gotta get serious. And so I had like a serious job, and like I got married and I bought a house, and then I got pregnant. And then my child came in unexpected. Moon conjunct Uranus in the 8th.
Whoa.
Square my sun in the 5th. The 5th is the house of children. The 8th house, the house of transformation, death, and rebirth. And he came in for just a short period of time and then passed. So that was 5 weeks between right before my birthday and right after my birthday. 32 going into my 33rd. And that's when all these other transits kick off, friends. So from that moment on, I'm like, I don't know. I had big conversations with Jesus as fucking Christ. You're like, what the F? Really? Why? And so I don't know. Like, what is divine timing versus astrological timing? Are they all the same? And but I'm starting to feel like it is the same thing, that things just happen whether we expect them or not. And many times we see that in the astrology, that the conditions are prime for some of these things to happen.
Sudden death.
Sudden deaths. Exactly. Change.
Passing.
Yeah, right. And not everybody experiences what I experience, but my chart, one of the possibilities is the keyword of death. Now, that could have been a death of like, I decided not to be a mom and now I'm rebirthed as something else and not having had the experience of having a birth. That's another interpretation, right? I could have become like a death doula out of a fascination of death. Instead, I am a person that will talk to you about death. Like, you know, like if you're open to it, yeah, let's have a conversation about death. My Jupiter in Scorpio loves that. So I've had another divine timing experience like that after that, much later. Again, when I left Intel, that wasn't me like picking a card that day, but like, today I'm going to leave my job that pays me very good money. No, that was the Uranus opposition, and then I had an awakening, and that was that.
Yeah.
And I remember when I when I decided to go renew my passport for Chile, and then my friend's like, "Are you sure? It's like Mercury retrograde." I'm like, "Girl, it's okay. I got it." And then 2 years later, COVID. Then that's when my passport came through. And so I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Then I had my ocular stroke during a lunar eclipse. The right eye is the moon. The left eye is the sun. My sun and my moon are at a square. I have Chiron in Aries. Aries is the head, and all three of those things are connected in my chart. It is. I could tell you so many of these types of things. Our second dog, passed this past September during the eclipse. And that was also when Saturn was transiting my partner's 6th house, which is the house of pets.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Divine timing, astrological, or are they the same?
They're the same. Well, I mean, you guys, it's up to the viewers, but I'm going to tell you they're the same. Just because if we're talking about ancient knowledge here, right? When mom and I get in our moods, kind of like how I feel like now, where it's like, oh, this is so just juicy and delicious. We have talked about these things. My mom went through the same thing. She went through a stroke. She's an Aries. She had it in the head, and the stroke didn't kill her. She had 2. She should have died, and she was dead on the bed for a minute, and then
Wow.
she was alive again. I have lost grandparents that have the conjunctions and then also some squares during eclipse transits, and they pass during that specific correlated eclipse, and then so on and so forth. Like I had my Saturn return it's a very long one compared to quite a few, because I have the Pisces Saturn return and it's still going. It's almost over, but it's still going, and I'm 30, bro. I've been having it since I was 27. And it's like you see all of the crazy happenings. Like meeting Sadie was serendipitous, and that was like a transit that I looked at my chart where it was affecting my Mercury, and I didn't know how to use my voice, and it hit my Mercury, which is in Gemini. Finding out that she had like some kind of connection to me because of me talking. It was just like us talking, and then boom, we connected. I'm like, oh, Mercurial connection. And then upon meeting you, it was during a transition where I'm closing a whole door to my entire rebuilt life. And now I have to start a new life. And here we are talking, and you're wanting to figure out how to do sound healing and do all these things that you're doing. And here I am as a practitioner that's like looking for that. It's like opportunity, right? So I do think that this stuff means something. Back in during, if you guys want to look up someone super interested in astrology, you should look up Nostradamus.
Right.
Nostradamus was one of the most important astrological person ever in history. And if you look at what he used to do, he would consult royalty and society, and they called him a quack in society, but yet he would get these scrolls of, oh, you need to come to the palace exactly during this date, during this dinner, during this time, because we need you to do this, this, and this. And it's like, oh, why are they reaching out to the quack if
Right.
it has all this information and they're
Right.
paying him for it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the kings and queens have always had astrologers in their back pocket.
Still do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Although you kind of wonder, like, if for those that follow the royalty in the UK, like, all those individuals have eclipse stuff in their charts. That's whacked. Like being born. Like,
It's on
are
purpose.
right. They're timing it.
Yep. And they make sure that you have intercourse during a specific season. And if you don't fulfill the season, you have to do it the next season so that you fulfill the prophecy. This is all ancient stuff. This is stuff that they've been doing for eons. Bloodlines, ties, marriages, they're all specific portal dates for specific timed prophetic connections. And I think that that's something that people need to understand. If you want to build wealth, you want to build your business, you want to build you need to look at your blueprint, which is your chart. You came in on that chart. You came in on that. That is your map. It doesn't mean that you are going to do everything on the map. Do I go to, Chili's up the street just because I'm hungry for some nachos? I mean, there's a bunch of different locations for nachos I could go to, but am I going to go to Chili's? Probably not. I'll probably go to the Fiesta up the other side, It's just a blueprint that you can utilize, tap into, and then you build and develop. Ergo, why people like Carolina are stepping in to aid you to figure out what placements do I need to tap into so that I can get myself up.
Yeah. Yeah. And out of the scared mindset or lack of confidence mindset. That's the big thing, right? Because most people, and I get it, like we've all gone through phases where like, I'm not so sure this is what's happening. What am I supposed to do? Is this it or that? Or you're so stressed out and you're sick in your societal shit, right? There's a lot of people who are not well right now. A lot of people. And you can use astrology to help heal you too. Like you can actually break out of the matrix, but it's painful. It's not an easy thing.
And that's exactly what I did during my painful transits too. If you guys follow any of the episodes or, anything I talk about ever, I mean, I've gone through so many things, and it's like for all of us that feel like we're going crazy, like you're not alone. Everybody feels like they're going crazy. Just because I look cute right now doesn't mean I didn't freaking look like a societal crazy mess once before, right? It's just like if you find the areas that you can start to work on and chip away at, you can start to tap into those areas, build them, develop them, heal them, give them some love, and then you just start shifting things. Things naturally redirect. When a clockmaker goes in to fix a clock and the cog is off and they got to fit a new cog in, it's not going to work right until you figure out what piece is messed up and how to fix it and clean it and put it back in. And now the clock's working, right? I think that humans are really riding the wave of this celestial advancement. I think that when we talk about awareness and ascension, it's not something that is this weird ass term. It's a spiritual awakening that is actually happening in due real time. Those of us that are feeling like we're off the rocker more than usual, you probably need to slow down and look at what's making you a little cuckoo inside, you know? You're
Yes. Yes.
It's
So
like
true.
it's
Yeah, get off the Instagram, please. Get off Instagram, get off TikTok, get off social media. Like, that's like the best thing you could do for yourself right now. If you're trying to find yourself, don't go into those spaces. You're not going to find your answer. It's just going to be a place where you're going to find stuff that's not real. It's not true. Like, no one puts their shit out there. Rare do people their shit out there. So we have a false sense of reality.
I mean, I'm
False
trying,
hope.
but
No, it's not an offense to you. I'm saying, like, what happens for the majority out there is not a sense of reality. That's Neptune. You know that. That is a Neptunian play that's happening there. And so and now we're starting to see it with ChatGPT. We're starting to see another play at Neptune of like really messing with our minds. So yeah, you are in control of your life. And the moment that you take back control of the little bits and pieces, everything starts to click. Everything, like, your decisions become clearer. You are thinking clearer of like what's good for me and what's not. And you start doing what is needed, which is boundaries for yourself and boundaries with others.
100%. And even also, I really want to reiterate this because I think it's something in the spiritual community that's pretty important. Do not take other people's shit personal. If you don't work right now, pause, pull away. Like, you don't need to work with that person. If you have an issue with the way somebody carries their business, that's not for you. Pull away, focus on you. All that matters right now is, are you developing you? Are you building you? Are you healing you? And it's not in the sense of the ego. It's actually healing our shadow and what you were talking about with the fear mentality. If people are really feeling this wave of, it's me against you, or it's me against them, or I'm scared of where the future's taking me, or I'm losing my freaking mind. It's like, okay, pause. Let's do a little cleanup. Let's chill, pull away from those people, focus on what makes you feel good. And maybe they'll come back around, or maybe they won't. Who cares? Focus on what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Find your community, which I'm so happy I got to meet you through Sadie. I think that was serendipitous in and of itself, is being able to have the opportunity to meet like fantastic practitioners, readers, healers, teachers, community leaders who are willing to actually have conversations. Like, you don't know me, I don't know you, but we're having an awesome little episode together. I think that is what's important about the Aquarian Age, is that we do have leadership roles and positions of power as far as like showing people the way, but we are equivalent in soul. We are equivalent together. We're here together. We're holding space together, and we let other people step up to the podium to hold space and lead and guide, and then the next person can do it when they're ready, and so on and so forth. I think that that's kind of that Aquarian ride that we're coming into.
Yeah, I would agree. You're starting to see more of it too. Like, people always ask, like, well, how do I see the planets like act in my life? I'm like, just open the newspaper. Like, read the news. Look at how people refer to things. Look at what words are being used that are new, not that weren't being used before, right? So community has been a big thing over the last, since Saturn went into passed through Aquarius. And that's been a big thing, like, for us to figure out, like, how do we operate together in the collective as the rest of the world starts to collapse, like environmentally, politically, borders, all those things. And the people who are going to win are those who come into community with an authentic heart for wanting to be of help for the greater collective.
And not in a utopian BS mindset, to reiterate 100 times. It's just, how do we show up together? We're all playing in the same play pool. So how do we show up together?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not want to control the narrative and how we do things. Aquarius, the fear that we have right now is the technocrats that we're seeing, the rise of that. That's one of the problems with Pluto. It doesn't really like say like, I am going to be an excellent helper of all of society and, kill the bad people. No, it's going to empower the bad people just as much. That's why we had corporations get bigger during Pluto in Capricorn. It got massive. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes for until 2044.
I think the phrase too that I heard while you were saying that is like, if you feel like you want to do something, I can tell you right now that if somebody has ambition and drive, they're doing it. And if you're like, well, I don't know if I'm good enough, or I'm feeling stuck, or I don't know how I can help or how I can show up. My biggest urge to everyone, anybody, talking to you and myself and always, it's more like, what do you believe in? What drives you? And can you get behind what you're ready to stand up to hold space for? Maybe you're not the person to go to the borders and do border control. That might not be you. That might
Right.
be more somebody that you know that is just kind of waiting to be called to do that. Maybe for you, you're the person who should be standing up to the UN and saying something on the podium there. Or maybe you're the person who needs to go do a beach cleanup. Like, there are things that you are derived of your ambition, your drive, your passion, that you should be tapping into and believing in yourself. And if you need support, hi, here we are. You can find us here. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it. Yeah. The opposite sign of Aquarius is Leo. So Leo loves to be like the inner kid child playing and doing all the things that makes them feel good. So use that as a guide, like go back into creativity. Many people don't know how to play, and
Never
it's
relearn.
yeah, it's hard to learn if you're stressed. It's hard to learn when you have no money. It's hard to do when you don't have a home, but there are ways to bring in more play into one space. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to spend millions and millions of dollars. You can actually, tap into a lot of what we're sharing in this space here for free. Library has everything that I just shared for free. Everything. There's nothing that I am sharing with you that is like proprietary.
And as we said, those communities that we're building, you can go to the school locations or any of
Yes.
those locations to check everyone out as well. I want to share with you just a quick story based off of what you just said. Back in 2020, when we had the COVID thing, stress, money, I was working as an independent contractor, and everything shut down. As far as we understood, you can't go to work. So how do you make money to pay your rent? So the first thing I did was reached out to my landlord and be like, yo, like, we're kind of screwed. What do we do? Like, do we work out a deal? Do we not work out a deal? So figured that part out. The second part was, how do I not go crazy? And I'm very, as we mentioned earlier in the video, Cancer, Midheaven, Mama. I immediately texted, my mother and my sisters and was like, cool. So how do you want me to take care of you guys? Like, how should I show up and be there and make sure you guys are good? My mom was in California with my baby sister, who was young at the time. And then my other sister was in college in Oklahoma. Well, they shut down school completely in Oklahoma. She got told to leave and that you can't come back. So where's my baby sister going to go? Me. I said, come to Arizona, stay with me. She came to me, Arizona, Sedona. Next, I focused on the little one, and I said, "Mom, like she can't go to school, so I want her to have fun and not be stuck in the house. Let me take my baby sister to Sedona. We'll go out to the creek. We'll go play in the water. We'll go do things so that she doesn't get crazy and like listen to all the crap that's going on in the world." My mom said, "Absolutely." Went got my baby sister in California. We went back home to Sedona, and guess what we did all of 2020 for the time where it was shut down?
You guys did Playhouse.
Yes. We
Mhm.
cooked. We played games. We went to the creek or on a walk or, whatever. We were active in participating with nature, with games, with good food. Because what you're doing is you're redirecting the psyche from fear to like housing it, to holding space for it. I didn't want my baby sister, who was in high school, to play into the crap that some of these kids played into, where they went to a digital mess of like doom scrolling and all the psychological warfare that was going on via the internet. I was like, I'm going to make sure that she is active, that she's still eating well, that she's not depressed, that her brain is stimulated, and that we're not stupid and naive and not paying attention, but we're not focusing on the doom. We're focusing on what do we need to do for us so we're ready for the next step that could happen if acceleration happened, right?
Mhm.
I wish that I could have said this example during that time to save millions of families that were struggling, depressed in the house, doom scrolling, not eating well, not taking care of themselves. Like, I wish that we had actually said something at the time of when I kind of like was starting to like get this stuff up and rolling. I mean, I was only 25 when this happened, right? So it's like, how do I, as a 25-year-old, show up and help and host and whatever, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of the lesson I think of what can I do? You take care of you. You take care of you and your mind, your heart, and you pick and choose who you surround yourself with so that you are in a good state of being and you just roll with the punches. If the world ended, I would still roll with the punches. Did I have backup material in case the world did end? You bet your ass I did. Knives, weapons, food, you know what I had. But it's like, I'm still not focusing on the doom and gloom. We're playing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great lesson to have. I was the same. I did the same thing.
And you're in New York, right?
At the time, I was in Portland, Oregon.
They
Yeah.
Well, Miss Carolina, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and reminding us that success isn't something we chase, it is something that we truly align with. To everyone listening, your chart is not a limitation, it is a strategy, it's a map. And when you understand it, you stop forcing outcomes and start activating what was always designed for you personally. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who's building their dream. Tag us, start the conversation. Your wealth journey can be conscious, strategic, and spiritually aligned.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for hosting me. Yeah. Follow up, see all the links, join me, and we'll connect again.
Be sure to tag everything and put it all down there so everybody can find you, find your locations. And if you guys want to work with her, please, she's awesome. I just met her, and through the couple of weeks of knowing her, so much knowledge, so much awesome energy. So definitely work with her and Miss Sadie. There's a lot of stuff that'll be coming out that you guys get to tap into. And as always, ignite your inner flame.